Hey guys, just before we get to into this video, I recorded this like a year ago or something, and I'm just finishing it now. That does not mean that it is the best quality. I'm just gonna tell you now, the intro is probably the longest part, and then the three acts are like 55 seconds, 42 seconds. It's just like a quick video. It's only like 8 minutes long. If you like Edge Runners, I guess this will be a bit fun to watch. If you haven't watched Edge Runners, hopefully this kind of gets you into it. But yeah. This was just me going on about how much I love the show for like 8 minutes. So, you know, enjoy, I guess. Also, Edge Runner's shirt. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is my favourite show ever. Well, until it comes to BoJack Horseman, then it kind of becomes a tie. Everything about it has never aged poorly with me for the last few months, and though I've had moments where I've begun to slightly lose the magic of BoJack, Edge Runners sticks on my mind 24/7. It's practically taken over me. Ever since little Sam Wallace decided that he didn't want to watch more BoJack, he thought it would be a good idea to chuck on an anime. At this time, I had never watched an anime or been interested in an anime at all, so I didn't focus on it much until a certain scene in the first few minutes. Funnily enough, the moment I decided I was into it was when, we all know the song, I Really Want to Stay at Your House began playing, and we thought, well, that isn't a bad song. Well, if bad song also means emotional trauma-inducing trigger, it was horrible. It also became my favourite song of all time for a good few months. It is still in my top 3, and it also led me to Let's Eat Grandma, which is my favourite band of all time. I won't make you sit through me rambling about them. After Little Sam Wallace left, for the next few days, I watched the remaining episodes on my phone, and although my cousins were over, I still needed to complete the grind. That ended up concluding when, at my nan's, I watched the last episode on a spare room's bed with earplugs only being interrupted by my cousin in the middle of the final fight, which is my now favourite finale of all time. But it didn't ruin the experience. I still cried like a fucking baby. Oh my god, I bawled my eyes out. When I tell you that I bawled my eyes out, I am underestimating that I bawled my eyes out. In fact, when we were driving home, I got my dad to play I Really Want to Stay at Your House through the car speakers, and I literally sat on the window crying and covering it for the rest of my family. And I ended up getting Dad, Reese, Isabel, Noah, Iron, Jack, Jake, and my 2 sisters to watch it, and Sam to finish it. Meaning I finished the show roughly 9 times, which is about 2,187 minutes of Edge Runners. Okay, enough of the backstory. Time to talk about the 10-episode show that has consumed my life. So what do you want? Made the Cyberpunk fanbase depressed. Yay! Before we get into the section, please make sure to, if you like the video, like, and maybe if you want to subscribe, you know, like the subscribe button, yeah. The action in the show is probably one of the first things that people thought about when they heard Cyberpunk and anime in the same sentence, as the Cyberpunk franchise revolves a lot around the fighting aspect. Whether it be being chased by cop cars, having max tack on your ass, literally blowing somebody's head off, or driving off a building, the show does it for you and more. If you're interested in cyberspace, you get that. If you like the idea of Sedevastans, oh boy do you get that, since it's practically the pinnacle of the story's events. Talking about Sedevastans, they are like 10 times cooler than they are in the game, maybe because in the game you're first person and don't get to see the trails other than on the Smasher in the new update. But if you didn't care about Sandys before, see yourself using them with either Sustain/Decay or I Really Want to Stay at Your House playing. Happens to the best of us. If you love car action, in certain parts of the show it is basically overwhelming in the best way possible. There's a lot in the finale and a sprinkle of it in the first episode, if you know what I mean. The animation in these sequences are awesome, and I'm so glad that they put this amount of time into a show for a game at first so unsuccessful. Just looking at these shots, you can tell the amount of pure effort the studios behind this anime put into it. So much of them help support why I think this is my favourite cyberpunk themed universe, although it is the only one I've immersed in. If you didn't know already, these stellar shots are based mostly on exact places in the game, making this show feel exactly in the same universe we've stepped through before. Instead of a video game adaptation based on the idea of a game, it's based in the game, and just seeing the city as beautiful as it looks in such a compelling form is just such an achievement. Whether it be the technical advertisement nature or the shouting glow, it makes Night City look and feel like a haunting paradise. Dare I say, in my opinion, as much as the game does. Even when characters feel still, they still feel so alive, and the backgrounds and graphics enhance that. Characters in this anime, all while having a restricted time period to develop, were still somehow handled really well in this show. Who knew I would feel so dreadful and bad for a character I had only known for 3 episodes? The same amount of hurt that other shows took 2 seasons to accomplish. The characters are one of the main things in the show that are so thankfully well executed, otherwise the whole show wouldn't have worked at all. And it definitely wouldn't have left that emotional impact it did to the fan base that it did. This show also somehow knows how to direct literally all the viewers to a side character we only see for roughly 10% of the show's runtime, but seriously, she's great. She's got that comedic charm, unique designers to the others, and likable attitude towards our main character, including compassion, so she isn't just used as a marketing prop, which I admire. David, I don't know how to explain this, but he's just amazing. And this is going to sound weird, rather find myself more invested in a main character's life than them themselves in a lot of media, but there's just something so likable about this dude. I don't know how they did it. Falco is great, Peeler is something, Kiwi is also something, and Dorio exists. Oops. Either way, even if some of them are forgettable, they're good still, and don't pull the show down in any way. Oh, and there's also Adam Smasher. We don't need to talk about him. I love this show with all my heart, and ever since watching it, which was a bit over a year ago now, it has been my favourite show next to BoJack. I don't know if it's the watchability, considering its short runtime, the absolutely angelic music, especially including my favourite band of all time, the gripping and emotional story it brings, or just the vibe of the whole thing in general, but I will say that Cyberpunk 2077 is special. Ever since its shitty launch, it has gotten itself up and up further and further with the release of its DLC, the anime, the ever-growing community, the new board game based on a video game and show, and it being patched up as a whole. It's truly amazing and well deserved for such a great idea and concept. I want to thank Studio Trigger for bringing such a captivating, well-written story to life, and CD Projekt Red for any of this existing as a whole. I know that this is incredibly deep for, once again, a 10-episode show that was probably mainly used to market the game in general, but unfortunately for those who think negatively on this, it means a lot to me, and I love it, and I get obsessed with things easily, and Edgerunners has decided to be my ultimate obsession, so deal with it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and bravo to everyone that worked on this, the crew that voiced these characters, that animated it and wrote what it is. And that is my favourite show of all time.
And I'm aware that you were lying in the gutter, 'cause I did everything to be there by your side. So when you tell me I'm the reason, I just